students, I Rajeshwari Shirkanhalli welcome you all in Nagesh Karasgi Orchid School channel. Students, in the last session we have discussed about adding manures and fertilizers. After that we have seen about the next stage of agricultural practice, that is irrigation. So what is irrigation? It is nothing but watering the crops at regular intervals. So we have also seen that irrigation depends on the crop, it depends on the soil, and it also depends on the season. We have seen the different techniques used for irrigation. We have seen the traditional methods as well as the modern methods. Now let us discuss the next stage of agricultural practice, that is protection from weeds. So what are weeds? These are unwanted crops, unwanted plants. Sometimes some unwanted plants grow naturally and they are not desirable. So we have to protect the crops from such unwanted plants. So let us discuss about the next agricultural practice, that is protection from weeds. Bhujo and Paheli went to the nearby wheat field and saw that there were some other plants in the field. Have these other plants been planted purposely? Bhujo wants to ask. No, they are not planted purposely. They are grown as it is by their own. In a field, many other undesirable plants may grow naturally along with the crop. So these undesirable plants are called weeds. The removal of weeds is called weeding. So what is weeding? It's the method, it's the process of removal of weeds. Weeding is necessary since weeds compete with the crop plants for water, nutrients, space and light. Okay, so as like crop plants, these weeds also require water, nutrients, space, sunlight, etc. for their growth. So they start competing, they start doing competition with the crop plants. Thus they affect the growth of the crop. Some weeds interfere even in harvesting and may be poisonous for animals and human beings. My God. So students, some weeds are poisonous also. So they interfere in harvesting. So some weeds also get pulled during the harvesting, and if these weeds are eaten by the animals, then animals can die. They are harmful for animals, they are poisonous, and they are even harmful for human beings. So farmers adopt different ways, many methods to remove these weeds and control their growth. So how it is done? Tilling before sowing of crops helps in uprooting and killing of weeds, which may then dry up and get mixed with the soil. So we have seen tilling. Tilling means plowing of the seed. We have seen this during the preparation of soil, isn't it? So during tilling, which is done before sowing the crops, during that process what happens? The weeds get uprooted and they get killed, they get dried and they get mixed with the soil. So the best time for the removal of weeds is before they produce flowers and seeds. So weeds also produce flowers and seeds. Once they produce flowers, seeds, then they start growing more rapidly. So before this process starts, the weeds should be removed. The manual removing of the seeds is done by using physical methods. So the manual removal includes physical removal of weeds by uprooting or cutting them close to the ground from time to time. So how the weeds are removed manually? Either they are uprooted or farmers cut these weeds at the base, means which is very close to the ground, from time to time. This is done with the help of a khurpi. So the agricultural tool used for manual removal of weeds is khurpi. A seed drill, which we have seen already, is also used to uproot the weeds. So either by using khurpi or by using seed drill, the weeds get removed, and it is done before sowing the seeds. Now this is about manual removal of weeds or by using different tools. Now weeds are also controlled by using certain chemicals, and students, these chemicals which are used for controlling the weeds, for killing the weeds, are called as weedicides. As you know that insecticides means they are used for killing the insects, germicides means for destroying the germs, for killing the germs. Same way it is weedicides. Weedicides means these are the chemicals which are used for controlling, means for killing the weeds. Now some examples of weedicides are 2,4-D. This is one example of weedicide. There are many other examples. There are many other weedicides used which are chemical substances, and they are also very dangerous. These weedicides are sprayed in the fields to kill the weeds. So how these weedicides are used? These are taken in a cylinder, and with the help of pipe these weedicides are sprayed everywhere in the field to kill the weeds. They do not damage the crops. Okay, so one specialty about these weedicides is they only kill the weeds. They do not damage the crops. So crops are safe when these weedicides are used. The weedicides are diluted with water to the extent required and sprayed in the field with a sprayer. So sprayer is used for spraying these weedicides. First they are diluted with water, means water is added to these chemicals to make them dilute and use in the required quantity. Okay, so the spraying of the weedicides with the help of a sprayer is shown in the figure 1.6. You can see here in this figure spraying the weedicides is shown. So this farmer is having that weedicides in this container, and with the help of this sprayer he is spraying. And one more important thing you have to see here, you have to remember is, here see, this farmer has closed his nose and mouth with a cloth, which is very important. Why? Because these chemicals, and if they get inhaled, if these chemicals enter the human body through nose or mouth, they may be harmful for the human beings. So always the nose and mouth should be covered while spraying the weedicides. Okay. Do weedicides have any effect on the person handling the weedicide sprayer? Good question asked by Bhujo. He wants to know whether the person handling this weedicide sprayer has having any effect of those chemical weedicides. Yes, as already mentioned, these weedicides are sprayed during the vegetative growth of weeds before flowering and seed formation. So when the weedicides are sprayed during the vegetative growth of weeds, means when the weeds are growing, but these are sprayed before the weeds bear flowers or produce flowers and seeds, before the formation of seeds and flowers. Spraying of weedicides may affect the health of farmers, so they should use these chemicals very carefully. Okay, so as I have just told that these weedicides, if enter the body of farmer, it has adverse effect on the health of the farmer. So weedicide should be used very carefully. They should cover their nose and mouth with a piece of cloth during spraying of these chemicals. So students, just now here in this figure I have showed that that person is having a green color cloth tied on his nose and mouth. So always nose and mouth should be covered with a piece of cloth during spraying of these chemicals. So this is all about protection of the crops from weeds. Now let's move to the next stage of the agriculture, that is harvesting. So what is harvesting? Harvesting of a crop is an important task. The cutting of crop after it is mature is called harvesting. Okay, so soil is prepared, seeds are sown, then manures, fertilizers are added, watering is done, that is irrigation, then weeds are protected, everything is done and crops are grown very nicely, very properly. But after that what should be done? cutting of the crops is very important, isn't it? Once the crops become matured enough, then farmers cut those crops, and this cutting of crops after the crops becomes mature is called as harvesting. In harvesting, crops are pulled out or cut close to the ground. Either the crops get uprooted, they are pulled out, or they are cut close to the ground. It usually takes 3 to 4 months for a cereal crop to mature. So, growing of the crops is not an instant process, it is a slow process, long process, and from this you can understand that farmers have a lot of patience, isn't it? So, usually it takes 3 to 4 months for a cereal crop to mature. Harvesting in our country is either done manually by sickle. So, look at this figure, this is called as sickle. With the help of this, the crops can be removed manually, or it is also removed by a machine called harvester. Okay, so harvester is a machine used for harvesting process, for removing of crops. In the harvested crop, the grain seeds needs to be separated. Okay, so crops are removed. Now the grains which are there in their pods, they should get separated. They should get separated from their cover, from their chaff. So this process is called threshing. So students, you are familiar with these terms, that is harvesting, threshing. You have learnt in your lower classes. So what is threshing? Removal of the grains from the chaff. That is separation of the grains from their chaff is called threshing. This is carried out with the help of a machine called combine, which is in fact a combined harvester and thresher. So look at this figure, this is a machine which consists of a harvester also and thresher also, means it removes the crops and it separates the grains from the chaffs also. Okay, so that is called as combine. Now after harvesting, sometimes stubs are left in the field which are burnt by farmers. Okay, so parts of the crops like straws, etc., they are called as stubs. They are left in the field and they are burnt by farmers. Paheli is worried. She knows that it causes pollution. So students, you also know that when we burn something in the open air, lot of smoke is released and lot of air pollution causes. It may also catch fire and damage the crops lying in the fields, isn't it? So stubs should not be burnt in the field. Otherwise, the good crops also can get damaged. Farmers with small holdings of the land do the separation of grain and chaff by winnowing. So students, you know this process of winnowing also. Okay, so look at this winnowing machine which is shown here in the figure 1.9. So farmers which are having small holdings of land, they do this separation of the grains from chaffs by using the winnowing machine. So they use the process of winnowing. You have already studied this in class 6, isn't it? Okay, so do you know about harvest festivals? So as I have told that farmers require a lot of patience, because growing crops, harvesting the crops is not an easy process. It requires a lot of time. So after this lot of hard work and lot of patience, once the harvesting is done, the farmers becomes very happy and they celebrate their success. And how they celebrate? In different forms, and these are called as harvest festivals. So let's see what is harvest festival and which are the harvest festivals. After 3 or 4 months of hard work, there comes the day of the harvest. The sight of golden fields of standing crop laden with grain fills the hearts of farmers with joy and a sense of well-being. Okay, so after 3 to 4 months, when the crops become mature, they see the field with standing crops and the field looks like golden field. of standing crops, and these crops are laden, they are filled with grain, and these sights make farmers very happy. Okay, so it fills the hearts of farmers with joy and sense of well-being. The efforts of the past season have borne fruit, and it is time to relax and enjoy a little. Students, as like how after doing a lot of hard work, if you get very good marks in exam, you feel so happy, isn't it? In the same way, after this all the hard work, when farmers see golden fields with standing crops laden with grains, they also become very happy, and they also enjoy, they also celebrate this. So the efforts of the past season to have borne fruit, and it's time to relax and enjoy a little. The period of harvest is thus of great joy and happiness in all parts of India. So men and women celebrate it with great enthusiasm. Special festivals are associated with this harvest season. So let's see which are these harvest festivals. These are Pongal. Recently these festivals have got celebrated: Pongal, then Baisakhi, then Holi, Diwali yet to come, then Nabanya and Bihu. Bihu is the harvest festival which is mainly associated with Assam. So these are some of the harvest festivals celebrated by farmers at the time of harvesting. So after this, the last stage of the agricultural practice is storage. So grains are harvested, okay, threshing is done, everything is done, but the grains should be stored properly. So storage is very important process. It is the last stage of agricultural practices. Storage of produce is an important task. If the crop grains are to be kept for longer time, they should be safe from moisture, insects, rats and microorganisms, isn't it? If the grains are not stored properly, if they are stored in the places which is damp, moisture is there, then what happens? The grains gets destroyed, sometimes they get germinated. Insects, if insects are there, then the insects start eating those grains. Rats also destroys the grains. Microorganisms also affect the grains. So the grains, if kept for long time, they should be free, they should be safe from all these problems. If freshly harvested grain seeds are stored without drying, they may get spoilt or attacked by organisms, losing their germination capacity. Okay, so students, the fresh crop has more moisture, and if suppose these fresh crops, freshly harvested grains, if they are stored without drying them, then they get spoilt very easily and they get attacked by different organisms. They also lose their germinating capacity. Hence, before storing them, the grains are properly dried in the sun to reduce the moisture in them. So, as the fresh crop has more moisture, this moisture should be reduced. For that, drying of the grains is very important. So, before storing the grains, first the grains should be dried properly. This prevents the attack by insect pests, bacteria and fungi. So, farmers store these grains at proper places. Okay, now Paheli is having a question. I saw my mother putting some dried neem leaves in an iron drum containing wheat. I wonder why. So, students, people also store grains for 1 year, 2 years or at least for 6 months. So, for that different methods are adopted at household level. In that, putting neem leaves is one important method. So, let us discuss why these methods are used. Okay. So, farmers store grains in jute bags or metallic bins. However, large scale storage of grains is done in silos and granaries to protect them from pests like rats, insects, etc. So just look at these figures. So you can see here these big containers, drum-like structures are shown. These are called as silos. In these the grains are stored. So if the grains are obtained in large quantity, they are stored in silos or they are stored in granaries. So this is storage of grains in granaries, and these are stored at these places to protect the grains from pests like rats and insects. Dried neem leaves are used for storing food grains at home. For storing large quantities of grains in big godowns, special chemical treatments are required to protect them from pests and microorganisms. So at home, dried neem leaves can be used for storage of food grains, but if the grains should be stored in large quantities, then different chemical substances are used, and similarly some specific chemical treatments are required for protecting them from pests and microorganisms. So students, these are the different agricultural practices which we have discussed. Now let us move to the next point, that is food from animals. Look at the activity. You are going to do this activity. You have to make the following table in your notebook and complete it. So here you have to write the different food and the different sources from these food are obtained. One example is given, like milk. Milk is obtained from cow, buffalo, she goat, she camel, etc. So what else you get from animals? Those all you have to write here, like meat, eggs, etc. And you have to write their sources also. After completing this table, you must have seen that like plants, animals also provide us with different kinds of food. So till now in agricultural practices, we have seen that we get food in the form of crop from agriculture. Means plants provide us food in different ways, isn't it? Along with plants, animals also give us different products which are used as food. Many people living in the coastal areas consume fish as a major part of their diet. What is a coastal area? Yes, the areas near the seashore, they are coastal areas. So people residing over there, they mainly dependent on the fish. They consume fish as a major part of their diet. Students, in the previous classes you have learnt about the food that we obtain from plants, isn't it? We have just seen that the process of crop production involves a number of steps like selection of seeds, sowing, etc. Okay, so we have seen the different steps. Similarly, animals reared at home or in farms, they have to be provided with proper food, shelter and care. When this is done on a large scale, it is called animal husbandry. So what is animal husbandry? It is rearing of animals, and proper care is taken, proper food is given to the animals. Similarly, proper shelter is provided to the animals and special care is taken of the animals, and this is all done in a large scale, and that is called as animal husbandry. Okay, fish is good for health. We get cod liver oil from fish, which is rich in vitamin D. Students, do you know what is the other source of vitamin D? Yes, you are right. It is early sunlight. So you should expose yourself to the early morning in the sunlight. You get vitamin D from sunlight. Okay. So here we have completed with the chapters. So let's see these important points in short, which you have already learnt. In order to provide food to our growing population, we need to adopt certain agricultural practices, isn't it? As the population is growing day by day, more and more requirement of food is there, and to fulfill this requirement, we need to grow more crops. For that, we have to adopt certain agricultural practices. Same kind of plants grown and cultivated at a place constitute a crop. After that we have seen that a crop is nothing but same kinds of plants and they are grown on a large area. They are cultivated at same place, that is called as a crop. In India, crops can be broadly categorized into two types based on the seasons. They are Rabi crops and Kharif crops. We have already discussed about these two types of crops along with their examples and the seasons in which they are grown. After that we have discussed that it is necessary to prepare soil by tilling and leveling. So, in the tilling the soil is plowed, the soil is made aerated and then the soil is leveled. So, for this purpose plows and levelers are used. After that we have discussed about sowing of seeds. Sowing of seeds at appropriate depths and distances give good yield. Good variety of seeds are sown after selection of healthy seeds. Sowing is done by seed drills. So, what is sowing of seeds? Seeds are sown at proper depth and at proper distances, and for that good quality seeds are selected which should be healthy and which should give a good yield of the crops. And how sowing is done? It is done either by using that funnel like structure. Actually it was used in the ancient time, but now it is done by using seed drills. Soil needs replenishment and enrichment through the use of organic manure and fertilizers. Use of chemical fertilizers has increased tremendously with the introduction of new crop varieties. Okay, so soil gets different nutrients and plants grow more rapidly by supplying manures and fertilizers, and nowadays fertilizers are used as new crop varieties are introduced. After that we have seen that supply of water to crops at appropriate intervals is called irrigation. So, what is irrigation? It is supplying water to the crops. We have seen that irrigation depends on the crop, it also depends on the quality of the soil and it also depends on the season. So, the time and frequency of irrigation varies from crop to crop, season to season and soil to soil. After irrigation we have seen the next agricultural practice, that is protection of the plants from weeds. So, weeding involves removal of unwanted and uncultivated plants called weeds. Okay, so we have discussed that along with the growth of crops sometimes some unwanted plants grow naturally. They are not cultivated, they grow on their own, but they start competing with the crop plants for getting nutrients, soil, water, space, sunlight, etc. So, these weeds should be removed. For that different methods are used and these methods are called as weeding. It is done manually, it is also done by using weedicides. After that we have discussed about harvesting. What is harvesting? It is the cutting of mature crop manually or by machines. And later on we have seen that the grains get separated from the chaffs, which is called as threshing. After doing all these things, grains are obtained, but proper storage of grains is the very important method, very important task. It is necessary to store the grains properly to protect them from pests and microorganisms. And at last we have discussed about animal husbandry. Food is obtained from animals for which animals are reared. Special care is taken during this rearing of animals, that is called as animal husbandry. So, students, here we have completed with the chapter, that is how we have seen that how the crops are produced and how the seeds are stored. So, management is also important, and we have also discussed about the different harvest festivals celebrated by farmers. So, these are the steps which are actually used by every person, those who plant the saplings in the home garden. So, if you have ever done the planting, you also must have used all these practices, isn't it? If not, then in future you are going to use, I am sure about that. So students, go through the concepts, mark important points and prepare your own question bank. We will stop here. Thank you.